Let's have a look at F9 snare inside a modern lo-fi production. Now, everything I'm about to do can be done inside of any DAW thanks to the additional sampler formats, but it's nice and quick to put things together in Ableton. So let me just break down the main rhythm elements. I've got this lopsided loop, but I didn't like the snare that was in it. This is why I've replaced it. And you hear it's really kind of lumpy and it's kind of slightly out of time in places, but I love it. Played a live hi-hat over the top and then just shifted some of the hits around. And used a lot of filtering to really get rid of all of the top end. And here's the main snare. The main snare patch I'm using here is called late 70s style snares. These are really nice and woolly, warm, almost disco style snares, but also hinting at things like the Eagles and all of those kind of era of tracks. I'm also cutting quite a lot of the low off, and I've got quite a lot of the top cut off. I've actually taken a high cut down here to about 3.8. Let me open it back up so you'll see how bright these are in general. But for what we want with this lo-fi, I really want a lot of that top end taken off. Now, also to increase the warmth, I've just given it a little push here at about, it's 141 hertz. And there's always a bloom of information in a live snare, particularly when it's close mic'd. And what I want to do is accentuate those kind of bass frequencies and lower mid of a lot of the sounds like this. This is part of the joy of this kind of music. It's just lovely and warm, almost gives you a big hug. Now, also, you notice that I've got a utility plug-in here, and what I've done is just phase inverted the channel, the actual sound, just to check it. Now, this is so vital with snare drums, I can't tell you, particularly when they've got some weight. There wasn't much difference here because the kick drum is actually fairly light and it doesn't play at the same time as the kicks, but it's always worth just inverting the phase of your snare to see if it sounds better. As I say, there was no difference there, but it's something I now just routinely do. This is so important in new disco productions where you've normally got a kick drum and a snare. The difference can be astronomical. One other thing that I have done, if you just have a look over here, I've just pushed the snare drum back a couple of milliseconds. We could go further and make it really lazy, but this just kind of felt right. I've also layered some additional snares on top. There's this one which is just before the snare beat. Let me put that in line so you can hear it. It's almost like a little kind of scratchy sound flipping into the snare. And then I've added a couple of rim shots that are quite wet. So you hear they're just adding a little bit of colour to that snare drum, and it's slightly different on each hit. Then what I've done is taken some of the layer patches, and in particular this spring reverb. It's quite quiet, but it's just going to add a touch of sort of coloured reverb to the actual main backbeat. Then I've added some of the vinyl layers. And a few foley hits just on certain snares. And what I've done is pitched these down. Look at that, 13 semitones, so just over an octave, and really filtered them hard. But again, it's just a little layer of interest in the background. Just some quick automation notes. I've actually got an EQ automated here with a very severe curve. So a lot of sharp high and low pass filtering and a little middle bump. And this gets automated on just for this breakdown. Now for that fill, so simple, it's just a flammed snare. And a flammed snare is when a drummer basically takes both sticks and hits at the snare drum just a few milliseconds apart. And this is how I've emulated it here on the snare. But I also sent off another load of layers of reverbs and a pitch dive. And the EQ that's on the master is actually turned off on that last snare beat. Now, one parting shot, I actually took all of the channels and just fed them into one particular return. And on the return, I put a reverb plug in it. It's one of the best sounding room simulators out there. It's completely algorithmic. And actually, I've pretty much got the whole track sent to it. And it's just kind of sitting in there, warming everything up, bringing everything together and giving it a hug. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to check out this pack because it really is something. All the very best and wishing you the best for your music this year. Take care.